Hey, welcome to today's episode of the Beach Boss Influencers podcast. I'm Carrie Hyam and I'm joined with Brandy Shaver. And today we're going to be talking about a trap that many entrepreneurs fall into. And you might not even realize that you're falling into it. But how do we scale during the summer and not have our business fall apart, right? Because summertime, it seems to be even busier than like when your kids are in school and when all of the things are happening. Brandy, I guess what are some tips that we can give them to scale during the summer without sacrificing, the time that they have while their kids are out of school?
Yeah,
And
absolutely. This is a really great topic because a lot of people, not just network marketers, but people in business fall into this, right? Like they're like,
yeah,
"Oh, it's summer, my kids are out of school. It's crazy." It's like, you're running a million miles an hour, and if you've got kids in sports and church activities and all the things and you've got more
yep.
than one kid, right? Then you're like really nuts. So,
Plus, it's like your husband wants to take a vacation
right.
with your family because the kids are out of school. So all of a sudden you're like, how am I supposed to grow my business? Like when all of this crazy is
It's
happening.
crazy. So for me, when I was in the trenches building my business, the number one thing that I needed for my sanity was to have a very specific set of like things I needed to do that grew my business daily. And it wasn't like hours and hours long, right? It was what can I get done in an hour here and an hour there, like
Yep.
but for me, I'm not going to label myself as ADHD and all those things. I'm sure I have all that stuff. However, I I don't want it, so I'm not even gonna say it out loud, right? For me, if I don't have a set thing, I get distracted, right? Like I'm like, "Oh," like I'm putting out fires all day instead of like doing what I need to be doing for my business.
Yep.
And it's really easy. A perfect example was yesterday, right? I had a ton of things to do for my business. I had meetings, I had to record some ads with Carrie. We had some things we needed to build, whatever, right? I've got a wedding going on. I've got company coming in for the wedding. I got all the things going on. So I looked up and I got out of bed at the crack of dawn and looked up and it was 9 p.m. And I was like, wait, what
Yep.
just happened? Right. Like I forgot to eat, like that, like I got stuff done, but that's what I mean by time can just get away from you because you start putting out the fires. Now, yesterday was a productive day for me because I had planned, right? Like I had put the
Yes.
plan in play to begin with instead of trying to figure out the play when my feet hit the floor. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
I think that's part of it as having a plan, but also giving yourself some grace, right? You're going to have some days that like it just doesn't work out. Okay. It's not.
Yeah.
But you can put in place a daily mode of operation that's going to move your business forward. And so there's some things we can, chat about around that too, if we want to
Yeah.
get in that.
I love that, because I remember being told, like, clear back in like the very beginnings of when you and I were like starting to grow this network marketing business, and they were like, if you fail to plan, or if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Wasn't
Mhm.
that what it
Yeah,
said? And
that's exactly right.
it was absolutely true because so many times, especially in the summer months, you and I would call each other because it was like every day we were like accountability
Mhm.
partners, and we were growing this thing together. And it was either a text or a phone call. And I don't know how many times we were like, my day got hijacked.
Yep.
Right. And it was like we allowed things outside of our control to like seep into our business. And it was because we didn't have a plan on what we were actually going to be doing each day. And so the laundry was more important.
Yep.
Needing her weeds pulled out of her garden was more important than actually growing our business. And it's what's funny is I find that the people who say like, "Oh, it's the summer, I'll start back up when the kids, go
Go
back to
back to
school."
school.
They're the
Mhm.
same people that come the holiday season. They're like, "Oh, it's Christmas. I'll start back up after the holidays are over." If you are, and it's okay if you're one of these people. I was one of those
I
people.
was
It's not.
too. I was
Yeah.
too, yeah.
It was like we were constantly stopping and starting and stopping and starting, and we never actually built any type of momentum in our business because we would stop. And so I I love what you were saying about what are just those things that you need to get done. And we like to call it like a skeletal DMO. Like before the day is done, you have to get these 2 to 3 things done before your head hits the pillow. or you're not going to sleep. Like, and another thing, like when you have like family vacations and, you know that Timmy's going to have a baseball game at 6 o'clock on Tuesday. What is it that you need to prepare or have done ahead of time, right? Like maybe batching some content ahead of time or, having your team, communicating with your team, like these things need to get done, right? Like it's more communication and it's actually writing it down in your calendar in blocks of time. Like, okay, this needs to get done today. If you're shooting a podcast and you know you're going to be gone next week, shoot 2 podcasts so that you can still have a podcast going
Yeah,
while you're done.
this really saved Carrie and I's bacon, right? Because I mean, she has small kids still, 3 small kids. I
Yeah.
mean, I think Kate's is 12, right? And I had 6 and mine were all different ages, but the problem is that I couldn't get consistent because I was always trying to figure out what fire to put out, right? So
Yep. Yeah.
consistency is the new charisma. It's not about being the loudest, right? It's about showing up even when no one claps. And that's another thing because when you're first building on social media, you might feel like, man, I just like feel like I'm trudging in this mud, right? Like I'm not really getting
Yeah.
any traction. But the problem is people right before they get traction, they quit. So you're building this bridge and then you break the bridge down because you're like, oh, that didn't work. So I'm going to go back and you don't do it long enough to get somewhere. Right. So
Yeah.
it's having that consistency, even though no one is showing up yet. Because I'll tell you, to build an audience on social media that, knows, likes, and trusts you, it takes some time. It's not
Yeah.
Amazon Prime. You can't do it in 2 days. I don't even care who you are, unless, maybe you're already built influence and you're some famous person, already on social media. It's going to take time. So that's a piece because people will get in that drudgery, right? They're doing the content, they're batching, they're doing all the things, they're doing the DMO, and they get 2 weeks in and they're like, well, I haven't enrolled anybody, haven't
This
sold any
isn't working.
content yet. This doesn't work, like I haven't sold any products yet. This doesn't work. Like you've got to get yourself out of that mindset. It's not Amazon Prime. Like it's going
Yeah.
to take a good 3, 6, 9, even a year, months to build an active know, like, and trust audience.
Yep. Well, even those top influencers, even those movie stars and whoever, comes on social media and they naturally have a following. Think about the time that they put in to even grow that. Right? Like it's not like an actor woke up and was like all of a sudden this A-list celebrity. I mean, there's maybe 1 or 2 in the millions of celebrities that are out there, right? And so that's going to be the same for your business. And I think it comes down to, I used to tell Brandy all the time like I like it's hard for me to stay motivated. Like it's hard for me to
Yeah.
stay motivated. And I'd look back at my why and I'm like, why isn't this working? Because I have this why that makes me cry, but I still find myself in this stop and go and not like consistent. And Brandy and I both had mentors that they're like, you don't have a motivation problem. You're not going to be motivated every single day to grow this business. You have a discipline problem.
Mhm.
Like you need to be disciplined. And there's a difference between that motivation and inspiration. Motivation, it's fleeting. It's external forces that like feed that into you, right? Like
Right.
whereas inspiration, it comes from within, and that discipline muscle, it's like what is it that's going to keep you disciplined every day? If you're going to the gym, right? The thing that keeps you disciplined is how you feel. Your clothes start to fit better, like so it inspires you to keep going.
Mhm.
You're disciplined, and so you see the results. Whereas in your business, it's the exact same thing. It's a muscle that has to be developed. And if you're not someone who's been disciplined up until now, it's like you've got to draw that line in the sand and say, even though it's summer, even though it's holiday, even though fill in the blank, I have a
Yeah,
vacation
even
coming
though
up.
you're on vacation, like there is
Yeah.
an hour you could spend building your business on vacation. Carrie and I recently went to Hawaii, right? And we didn't just check out of our business. We planned our business DMOs, what we needed to be doing around what we were already planning, as a family, as people on that vacation, right? Like we don't
Yep.
just shut it down. We keep
Yeah.
doing it.
And
It's a lifestyle.
And we batched so much stuff before we even left so that we weren't worried about what was going on while we were on vacation,
Yeah, and
it
the
was
other piece
checking
I
in
think
here and there.
Yeah, I think the other thing people miss too is you don't need more motivation. You just need systems that make action automatic. Like That's the
Yeah.
piece, right? And there's like, you can go check out, go to leadmagics.com, for instance. That's a
Yep.
tool that we've built here at Beach Boss Influencers that helps network marketers put in those systems, right? Now, it's not a ton of money a month, but it will save your sanity because you're going to have a
Yes.
system that you can actually work through your daily mode of operation and then have a automatic tracking and things going out while you're enjoying your family. Because Carrie and I are the first to tell you, do not give up time with the people that you love. Now, is there a balance? Yeah. Is it always, 50-50 that you're giving 50-50 to your business and 50-50 to your key people you love? Not always, right? But the important moments, you cannot get those back. And we've both been in the situation where we've given those
Yep.
up with the short-term sacrifice for the long-term gain. Do not fall into that. Do not. There are ways around it. There are ways you can have both. And so that is total BS that you have to put everything on hold until your business is built, right? Because for some of us, it took longer than 3-5 years to build a business that actually made us real money, right? Like, and you
Yep.
don't want to put everybody you love on hold for 5 years. I mean, can you imagine being like, hey, spouse, I'm going to go build this business. I'll be back in 5 years. You're not going to have a spouse. Like that's
Yep.
how that's going to turn out, right? Like if you have kids and you're like, hey, kids, love you, but I got to go build this, for our future and for us to have what we want. Your kids are going to be resentful later. So
Yep.
you've got to figure out how you can build what you need to build daily. And Carrie's right. It really just boils down to a discipline muscle. And if you're not doing the discipline, if you're like, you know what, I'm just not motivated, I'm not inspired, maybe what you're doing is not where you belong. Because if you're not motivated, you're not inspired, you just trying to figure out a way to get money in your bank account, you're not really a network marketer. You're kind of like a shiny object seeker. So, anyway, hope
Yep.
that helps somebody
I
out
love
there.
that. Well, if you've gotten value today, hit that subscribe button, maybe share this podcast with anybody that you think may benefit from it, and let us know, depending on where you're watching, in the comments, wherever that may be, let us know, what are your non-negotiables that you're going to make sure you do every single day to build that consistency in your business. And remember, it's going to take discipline, and sometimes less is more, right? It doesn't have to be 10 things that you need to get done every day. It's like, what are those top 3 things to first, like, grow that targeted audience so that you have new eyeballs on your offers? What are you doing to engage, to build some know, like, and trust with them? And then what are you doing to promote those offers, right? Getting more into more conversations.
Yeah, I think
So
the
it's
key
that.
there too,
Oh, go
just to nail this in, is those daily mode of operation things that you need to be doing are the ones that create revenue, right? And that's
Yes.
Carrie nailed it. It's growing your audience, engaging with your audience, and promoting to that audience. Those are the 3 things that make you money. The rest of it, like planning content, recording content, all the stuff that needs to get done, that's great, and that needs to be in your process, right? But don't just write emails every day and hope that's going to build your business, right? Like that's
Yep.
not going to work.
The post and pray method.
Yeah, it's not gonna work. You need the whole ecosystem to make it work on social media. So, and if you need more on ecosystems and those kind of things, like how to do this, like if you're like, it makes sense in my mind, but I need a how-to specific, grab there'll be a link for social recruiting secrets here that you can grab, and it will walk you through step by step exactly what you need to do to move forward. So,
Yep.
all
Okay,
right.
so everybody have a great week. Plan to join us next week on the Beach Boss Influencers podcast, and we'll see you then.
See you later.